Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Artist. This is the Dr. Artist Show, and we're so excited to have this special presentation. I titled it Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and MS are all improved with one mineral. Did you know there's just one single mineral that can actually improve every single symptom of Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and MS? And this is something I just learned about. I'm so excited to share. I knew many, many benefits for several decades, actually, of this particular mineral. And I'm excited to actually show you what I just learned about all these neurological conditions that have already been proven to be improved, not just a little bit, massively. So I'm so excited to share with you this presentation on this one particular mineral. And if you want to try to guess what it is, this show is being brought to you by the mineral called selenium. I could not believe the massive amounts of information that's published in medical research about the benefits of selenium in helping to reverse Parkinson's, MS, and Alzheimer's symptoms. And you're about to see the evidence. So those of you who are familiar, I'm going to do a PowerPoint presentation here. You're going to have access to that entire PowerPoint in the Patients Resources tab at the Dr. Artist Show. There's a PDF. It's a digital form that is free to download, which will be this entire PowerPoint I'm about to take you through. But the information we highlight inside these research studies should blow your mind, because it blew mine as I went through them. So we're so excited to share this with you. Please, if you know anybody who's struggling with Parkinson's, MS, or Alzheimer's, please make sure they get this information. And it doesn't matter where they get selenium from. The goal is to make sure you have the information, because your life does not have to be as sabotaged by symptoms as it has been, nor do your loved ones who are struggling with any of the gait issues, memory issues, total quality of life issues that are so affected by these neurological conditions they call Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and MS. All right, so I'm going to dive into the presentation here. I'm very, very excited, as always, to share this information with you, because as we do the research, I cannot wait to show you what we found. So here we go. We're going to dive in there. Let me share the screen. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and MS have one mineral enemy, and you're about to learn what it is. I've shown you what it is, but now you're going to learn what it is. Scan the QR code to get access to our free email list, to our free documents, for our notifications on each weekly new show and any special presentations I do during the week on specific media topics and other. All right, so we're going to start with an article from verywellhealth.com. It's titled, "What Does Selenium Do to Your Body? A Dietitian Explains the Evidence." So let's dive in. Once absorbed selenium, your body uses selenium to make selenocysteine, an amino acid, and what are called selenoproteins, selenium proteins. Selenium impacts brain function, heart health, inflammation, immune function, and metabolism. This is what most of my audiences know about selenium. They know about its thyroid benefits. So the thyroid gland contains the highest selenium concentrations in the body. Many of the 25 selenoproteins, selenium-based proteins, are found in your thyroid and are involved in the synthesizing thyroid hormones. Studies show that selenium supplementation likely helps with Hashimoto's disease, Graves' disease, and other thyroid conditions. This is the number one thing I've talked about for years on this show from stages around the world, that selenium is required for the thyroid to make any thyroid hormone. So if there's any endocrinologist out there not telling their patients when they give them Synthroid or levothyroxine, if they're not giving you selenium, they are doing you a great disservice. And really, truly, those medical doctors are uneducated. And you should probably switch or educate them, share with them this PowerPoint presentation. There are 3 things the thyroid needs to make every thyroid hormone, and it cannot make them without it. You've heard of T3, T4 hormones. Those cannot be made unless you have selenium, iodine, and an amino acid called tyrosine. So if you're not supplementing iodine, if you're not supplementing selenium, and you're not eating foods that are rich in L-tyrosine or supplementing L-tyrosine, you will be hypothyroid. Some of you will be Graves' disease, which is hyperthyroid, but there are many other thyroid conditions that can also be evidenced by the impact of not supplementing selenium. So that's what most people know about, including my followers and those listeners and viewers right now. Most people know about my emphatic discussions research we presented on the benefits of selenium to reverse thyroid conditions, which is why it's in our Thyroid Complete product. All right, now for cognition, these are still benefits of selenium alone. Selenoproteins, selenium-based proteins, have antioxidant properties that help reduce oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is basically how it is science describes what leads to disease in any organ. So they're saying selenium helps to reduce disease processes in the brain, a factor that can cause cognitive decline. Lab studies have shown that selenium has brain protective properties. Nationwide survey of adults over age 65. Adequate selenium intake was associated with higher cognitive function scores. All those out there that are 60 years old and older, any of you who have loved ones who are older than 65 years and older and are dealing with memory issues, cognitive decline, please forward this presentation to them. Please share this presentation far and wide. Every single score, I'm about to show you these scores, by the way, are improved with selenium supplementation, and it doesn't take much at all. Heart health. Some research suggests that inadequate selenium levels, so lower than normal selenium levels, may increase the risk of heart attacks, heart failure, coronary heart disease, and other heart health issues. Animal studies also show that selenium supplementation may help decrease the risk of these issues. This is from science.org. Titled article, Widely Available Supplement May Explain Brain Boost from Exercise. So there is, I showed you earlier, my version, our formulation of our selenium product. They're telling you here that selenium is a supplement widely available, but does exercise have an impact on the body's amount of selenium to improve brain function? And this is what they discovered. Now, Walker and her colleagues think they have found a key, the chemical element selenium. During exercise, mice produce a protein containing selenium that helps their brains grow new neurons. Please listen to me. I have shown over and over and over that researchers who actually do chemical and drug experiments with mice say the reason why they do all studies of drugs and chemicals in mice first before ever giving it to a human is because mice have every single gene that human beings do. So they quote, I quote them, they state over and over and over, we study mice because if something happens in a mouse, we know it will absolutely happen in a human. So let's read this sentence again with that new context. During exercise, mice produce a protein containing selenium that helps the brains grow new neurons. Isn't that amazing? Well, what if you've had a concussion? What if you've had a stroke? You need new neurons that have been damaged. Selenium has been proven to do that. Scientists may also be able to harness this element to help reverse cognitive decline due to old age and brain injury. Her own research has shown selenium improves verbal fluency and the ability to copy drawings correctly in older adults. We could start thinking about selenium as a strategy to treat or prevent cognitive decline in those who cannot exercise or are more vulnerable to selenium deficiency. She says, such as older adults and stroke and Alzheimer's disease patients. In 1999, for example, researchers reported that running stimulates the brain to make new neurons in a part of the brain called the hippocampus, a region that's involved in learning and memory. So 7 years ago, Walker and her colleagues screened the blood plasma of mice that had exercised on a running wheel in their cages for 4 days versus mice that had no wheel. The team identified 38 proteins whose levels increased after the workout. One in particular caught Walker's eye, a selenoprotein P, abbreviated SEPP1, selenium protein. This protein, which transports selenium to the brain and has antioxidant properties, more than doubled after the rodent's workout. Senior citizens, young and old, remember, working out has an extremely powerful benefit even on the cognitive brain. And it's not just it pumps more blood into the brain to bring you more oxygen to make you more able to focus or give you more attention abilities. No. It actually doubles the amount of selenium proteins in the brain that actually grow new neurons in the brain. How incredible is that? When the researchers injected sodium, selenite, which is a salt-based selenium, directly into the mouse's brain for 7 days, check this out. The number of neural precursor cells in the hippocampus part of the brain that controls learning and memory tripled. Could you imagine having triple the synapses in your brain to remember your family and loved ones' faces, their names? Selenium does that. Now, this was injecting selenium right into the brain. You do not need to do that. They just wanted to see what happened if they didn't feed it to the animal. They just injected it right in the brain. Will selenium have the same effect? They found the number of neural precursor cells, those stem cells that grow new neurons, tripled in the part of the brain that causes learning memory. Is that not fascinating? Is that not incredible? It blew me away to read these studies. Mice genetically engineered. Watch this. They actually know how to clone and genetically engineer certain animals, mice in this case, mice that were genetically engineered to lack selenium proteins receptors got no boost in neural precursor cells with exercise alone. So they actually engineer and birth litter of pups of mice that do not have any selenium protein receptors in their brain, in the hippocampus, to even grow new neurons. But they made those mice exercise and they saw no boost, no increase in the stem cells that cause new neurons in the brain to grow. The team found confirming that selenium proteins was key to making the new neurons. So it wasn't just the exercise that did it. You needed the selenium proteins to do it. To find out whether selenium can help the aging brain, Walker's team added selenomethionine to the drinking water, another form of selenium, of 18-month-old mice, which is the equivalent of a 60-year-old human. Remember, I told you they study mice because they know the same thing's going to happen in a human. So they compare the aging of mice to humans 24/7. They compare the weights and ratios to humans, and then they start doing drug experiments, chemical experiments on all of them. And this is how they publish the results before they ever do a human trial. So for 60-year-old humans, they picked 18-month-old mice that are relatively the same age as a 60-year-old human. And after nearly 1 month, the number of new neurons in the rodents' hippocampus had doubled. How many of you believe that loved ones of yours or yourself could benefit with twice as many healthy brain cells to help you remember, calculate, walk, move, go to the bathroom, shower? All activities are controlled by the brain. And the nerves in your brain are called neurons. The selenium-treated mice also performed better than controls in 2 memory tasks that rely on the brain region. In the first one, the treated mice learned to avoid a place where they got a mild electric shock better than the other mice. In the second group, the team placed the mice in a brightly lit table with 32 holes, one of which holes allowed the animals to escape to a dark chamber. Mice instinctively avoid bright, open spaces. They note, using markings on the table as cues, the treated mice learned to escape twice as fast as the other mice. Well, you know what it makes me think of? What about senior citizens who are trying to get to the bathroom at night? You might want to try selenium. These mice were able to find even a dark space, find out where they're needing to go faster, twice as fast as those I know that are struggling in assisted living homes, nursing homes around the world. They injected a molecule into the mice's hippocampus to cause a stroke-like lesion. So now they're going to take mice and cause a stroke that destroys neurons and hurts memory. So everybody who's ever had a stroke knows somebody with a stroke. This is who we're talking about. The lesioned but treated mice performed just as well as normal mice that never had a stroke on a suite of memory tasks. The untreated lesioned mice, those that did not get selenium supplement, on the other hand, failed to recognize objects as new, and they had a hard time remembering locations where they had received a shock the day before. A recent study showed clusterin, a molecule that also activates selenium protein receptors, is also elevated in the blood after physical activity in both mice and humans. Remember, if it happens in a mouse, it happens in a human. And it boosts memory. Quote, that makes this new paper even more exciting. Well, I mentioned at the beginning of this interview, at the beginning of this presentation, how excited I was to share this with you. It is mind-blowing what I learned and what these researchers learned about selenium. In this article in News Medical Life Sciences, selenium could boost learning and memory in aging brains. Queensland Brain Institute lead researcher Dr. Tara Walker said studies on the impact of exercise on the aging brain found levels of a protein that's key to transporting selenium in the blood were elevated by physical activity. And they state here, her quote, "We've known for the last 20 years that exercise can create new neurons in the brain, but we didn't really understand how. It's because of selenium." The research team investigated whether dietary selenium supplements could replicate the same effects as exercise. Pay attention, everybody. They know exercise increases the number of brain cells. Now they want to know, does selenium by itself do it? Because when they studied exercise, they found that all exercise was doing was increasing these proteins called selenoproteins that carry selenium to the brain.